Hello, 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 hello. Welcome back. My name is October, and this is a Deadlock tier list, something you've never seen before. Now, I know what you might be thinking, but October, didn't you just make a Mid Elo Deadlock tier list like a week ago? Yes, you would be correct. I did make a Deadlock Mid Elo tier list 1 week ago. There's only one problem. The tier list was outdated as soon as I uploaded it. Thanks, Yoshi. Despite that, it still performed far, far beyond my expectations, even to the point where somebody in one of my games recognized me. Shout out Klaba, if you happen to watch this video. I wanted to give myself a fair shake and update my Mid Elo Deadlock tier list now that the new patch has come out. I will not be doing one of these again for a long time, so don't think this is going to be like, oh, every week October's dropping a Deadlock tier list. It's just not going to happen. But first, before I get to ranking Abrams, the disclaimer, please. The takes this video are opinions of October _Deal, and Warden Sinclair doesn't claim to absolutely everything about the same. You also have to play every single character at the highest level for any character development fact. Despite this, you still have to share opinions and thoughts on any characters in the current string. Remember, these are opinions, not taken as a fact. Also, if you find someone going to at any point, please consider liking and subscribing. Okie dokie, welcome back. All right, let's start out at the top with Abrams. So Abrams is a character that I think is really interesting, right? Because I think Abrams is an A-tier character. However, the players in these Elo play Abrams like a C-tier character. I don't understand why that is or why that happens, because I think on paper this character should be really good if you build gun, and I know that his 1 got nerfed a little bit, but I think he should still be pretty good. I feel like Abrams is never just terrible, but yet the people in this Elo make him look like he should belong in Slork tier. But we're going to keep him at A for now. I think he is definitely not top of A tier, but he's a very strong pick. So already an adjustment from my last tier list. Apollo is going in S tier, and Apollo will be staying in S tier this time. Apollo got a couple of benefits from a couple of the item changes. First of all, I know his spirit got nerfed a little bit, but he's still really strong in the early game. His gun scaling got buffed a little bit as compensation, even though you still don't really see Gun Apollo in any regard. But Indomitable is an item that should benefit him a lot, and I have seen him doing even better in this last patch than he would have before, which is strange considering he got nerfed. Why is that exactly? I don't know for sure, but I think that he's just really strong, and until they change some part of his kit with the way riposte works, I think he's still going to be broken. Bebop. Bebop's going in A tier. I had Bebop in A tier last time, but Bebop this time is now going to be a strong, high, top of A tier character. Gunbop is crazy. You know, I thought that Bebop might have actually moved down after his nerf to the way that his gun, I believe it was his fire rate or like his windup or something like that. I thought he might be a little bit lower, but nope, Bebop is definitely strong and obnoxious. And yet again, hook, uppercut, hook, what are we doing? I don't understand who thought that was a good idea. Yeah, Bebop players enjoy it while it lasts, because I don't know how long it's gonna take. Stat monster this guy is. Billy. Billy's tough, man. I know that Billy actually got to change the way that Rising Ram worked, but I just don't see him in any of my games ever. Like, ever. And that's usually an indicator to me someone hasn't figured out the sauce with him yet. Maybe Billy is actually an A-tier character, but I'm putting him in B for now because I just don't see him a lot. He doesn't have, like, a major impact on any of my games. He doesn't scare me the same way that these A-tier characters do at times. And until I see some massive changes with him, and, you know, maybe it's just somebody figuring it out in the next couple of weeks, he's going to be in B tier for me. Calico is going to move down a tier for me. Now, this is a Mid Elo tier list, which I classified as probably like low Phantom all the way down to Mid Emissary. Pretty wide gap. I think if you get closer to that Mid Emissary range, Calico might be a B tier character, but I'm currently Oracle 6. And I think that Calico is a character that is really scary for like 10 minutes, and then she just disappears off of the game. Now, good Calicos, you can snowball with her. You know, you can win games on her. I'm not here saying that you can't win games just because your character is in C tier, but I think the amount of work that you have to do is even more than a character in B tier. And I find her to be just a little weak, maybe. Now, she can kind of stay that way for a while because it was obnoxious playing against her when she was strong. But I think that's all I'm going to say for Calico. Celeste. What do I do with Celeste? I still don't see a lot of Celeste, and I figured now that I'm in higher Oracle, I would see this character more often. I don't think that she can be below A tier, but I'm tempted to put her in B tier. And the reason for that is just because I don't think that people in Mid Elo can play to Celeste's strengths in a way that makes her an A or S tier character. I mean, yeah, sometimes she'll get away from you and it's obnoxious, but I just don't see her have the kind of impact that these characters in A tier do in basically every game. Yes, of course, you might run into one who has that kind of impact, but I think for Mid Elo, she's going to be in B tier, even though if you were to go higher up, I think she would be higher. So let's get to Doorman. I didn't actually rank Doorman last time. I had a Doorman tier, and I could put him in Slurk tier again, but I want to be honest and explain my thoughts about him. I think Doorman is good. Now, A or B tier, I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to put him in A tier. I think Doorman has got the stuff that absolutely infuriates you when you play against him. He's got, I mean, there's even some secret underground gun builds you can do with him that are weirdly scary, despite what you would think. And his ultimate is always going to be annoying in its current state, so I think A tier is a safe place for him. I've seen plenty of Doormans carry games, and I think that you can get pretty far playing as this character, and you are always going to be a lobby menace when you're playing him, so enjoy terrorizing everybody. Speaking of terrorizing everybody, the murder hobo, Drifter. I think Drifter has moved up from B to A for me. I don't know what it is. I don't remember if he got changed. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong about that, or if it's just, hey, we needed a little bit of time to figure out the niche this character occupies. I think he's really good in the right situations and with the right players. I don't think anybody can play Drifter, but Drifter players can be very obnoxious, especially if they're trading a lot, getting their stacks early, and it makes them basically impossible to 1v1 later. Also, the ultimate is really obnoxious when it's up a lot, and it's a very, very wide, like very large blinding effect. So yeah, we'll leave Drifter in A tier. Dynamo is still in S tier. I don't care. The nerfs were not enough in my opinion at all. The ultimate is still broken. Dynamo still feels like he is a menace in every single game he is in. I think he's a little bit weaker. Maybe he's not the undisputed best character in the game now, like I think he kind of was last patch. He's a little bit more balanced, but still wildly strong. Stomp, strong. Quantum Entanglement, still really strong. They didn't change any part of that I thought was making it broken. They just increased the cooldown a little bit. So he's going to stay up here, because you can still play him in a lot of ways. You can even play freaking Gun Dynamo for crying out loud. Graves is going into C tier. I know. It's Mid Elo Deadlock Tier list, so why isn't she in B tier? Well, I think there's got to be some characters in C, and I think Graves really does not have much going for her at this point. I think the ultimate is hit or miss with how useful it is, really only useful for sieging and pushing side lanes. That's probably the best part of her kit, because the line is pretty easily avoidable. The 3, I mean, you have to get within range. And deadheads, once you learn how to start timing your light melees correctly, they just don't really give you a lot of trouble. Now, Graves, if she gets ahead, can be a problem in a game. But you're just not going to see her get ahead a lot as you get higher in the Mid Elo. Maybe in lower Mid Elo, she's kind of up here. We'll put her ahead of Calico, I think, because I think Calico's a bit harder to play than Graves. I say a bit. I think Calico's a lot harder to play than Graves. Let's put Graves right there. GT, B tier. Definition of a B tier character. You've got pop-off potential, you've got some carry potential, but you're also very, very team reliant. I have not played against a GT that I was like, this GT is hard carrying the game, and it didn't include GT being like part of a team with another one of these characters who's higher up the tier list later. He's an incredibly powerful supplemental character to top tier characters in this game, but on his own, I think it's very difficult to like hard carry a game. You're pretty easy to counter. Phantom Strike will just make you not be able to play the game anymore. Knockdown spam makes it harder for you to play the game because you got to buy Unstoppable. Then you're losing some of your damage. I just think that B tier is probably where he belongs, but you can carry games on this character. Just it's a lot easier to do it with one of these other characters. Haze, what do I do with Haze? I think Haze is interesting because I think in Mid Elo, Haze can never be like below B tier unless she's just absolutely horrible. The ult builds are very strong. in this elo. Assassin characters are stronger in this elo because people take more aggressive positions and make more mistakes. It's a lot easier to get those picks on side lanes or in the jungle or stuff like that. I think that she has to be in B tier though for me, because it's very hard to just keep up with some of these other characters up here on her. You have to scale so much, takes you so long to get set up to the point where you're just like melting people. So yeah, we'll leave her in B. Holliday for me. What the heck do I do with Holliday? I think Holliday is going in C tier, much like last time. In mid elo, I mean, you're just playing gun Holliday most of the time. Lasso is really strong at higher elos, but in this elo, people are gonna miss it a lot. I see that all the time. And I just don't think that she has the kind of pressure that characters above her have. Gun Holliday has got some stuff. Crack shot, you know, they're slowly buffing that a bit to the point where it might actually become like her main identity. But as of right now, I still think that the only thing she really has going for her is the fact that you can secure a pick for some of these other characters up here, and also it's very hard to pin you down with your movement. Infernus, what do I do with him? It feels like he's disappeared from a lot of my games. I don't think he's bad, because I don't think he can be bad in mid elo, but is he A or B tier for me? Is Infernus better than Celeste for me? I think Infernus is better than Celeste for me. I'm gonna put Infernus in A tier. Afterburn is just always going to be better down here. He's not as much of a lobby monster as he was in the last patch, but I still think he's very strong. He just lost a little bit of value, and I think that was enough to bring him down to A, because little changes to characters like Infernus with the way that his Afterburn works and the way that his dash works, those are enough to like make him move down whole tiers. I mean, it really does not take much when you've got a passive like he does. Ivy is staying in A tier for me. I think Ivy's still really good. Very good support hybrid gun character sort of vibe. Really strong ultimate. Stone form is still just broken. I don't care what anybody says. And I haven't played against as many Ivies who like really annoy me as I did in the last patch, but I also think that sometimes you just get a lot of Ivies in a row, and I'll probably run into a lot of Ivies again sometime soon. So yeah, A tier for Ivy. Now Kelvin, Kelvin's going in S tier for me. This has changed pretty dramatically. I think it might be because I'm getting a little bit closer to the high end of mid elo, but this character, wowie zowie, does he do a lot. The slow is insane. The dome at max is insane. If Kelvin gets ahead, he is basically unkillable, even with anti-life steal, because he's just so tanky. He builds so much spirit resist. He's a monster. Support monster as well. Like, laning against this guy with any of these other characters in A or S tier is really obnoxious, and you're not going to have a fun time. Lady Geist. Lady Geist is an A tier. I think if this were obviously a high elo tier list, she'd be up here, or at the very, very top of A tier, but I think that she's actually relatively weak in these elos because people like to build Spirit Geist. Now, I could take the time to explain to you why Gun Geist is better, but you should just watch some high elo Geist play Gun Geist if you want to understand why she's better. The suck build is insane. Spell Slinger on her is insane. Her gun does so much damage when you use Malice on them as well. Swap is an insane 1v1 tool. I just think it's a lot better than just chucking bombs and praying that they stay in the AoE. Because a lot of people will not stand in the AoE in this elo, and you really want to use the burst from the bomb as opposed to the toxic mess on the ground afterwards. That's really only good for farming a lot. But I think that she's kind of slept on in these ranks. I don't see a lot of people playing her. I started playing her again a bit recently and have had a lot of success with a certain build that I found. Maybe I'll make a video on that sometime soon. But I don't think that she can be any higher than A tier in this elo. Lash. Lash is an A tier. Lash is a character that's been surging up into the potential top 5 best characters in the game at the very top of the game. I think Lash has always been a very good character down here, but people don't maximize his movement down here. The ultimates, a lot of times they're really predictable with them. If you're a Lash who mixes up your ultimate timing at all, you're already doing better than like 90% of Lashes in this elo. I think it's pretty easy to counter him under the right circumstances because a lot of them play very predictably and get a little too lost in the sauce with the movement stuff that they sometimes forget to actually get value for their team and secure kills and stuff like that. And also, people don't really build a lot of gun Lash here. Like, I've seen some people build it, but a lot of people still don't. So I'm leaving Lash here in A because the ultimate is really good, and if you can catch people, people are going to be less consistent about countering it, even if you are more predictable. I think especially as you get towards the lower end, Lash ult is probably like on the level of Dynamo ult in terms of its strength. Now on to Mcginnis. I don't understand this character because I look at stat locker, right? And even at the highest ranks of the game, Mcginnis has an insane win rate. Low ranks of the game, Mcginnis has a very good win rate. In the mid ranks, she has a very good win rate. I think this character is ass. Like, actually dookie butt cheeks. I cannot tell you the last time I played against a Mcginnis that I was like, oh, this Mcginnis is actually carrying the game. I've had Calicos do that, I've had Hollidays do that, and I've had Graves do that. It's probably been 60 games since I last saw Mcginnis that I was like, oh, they're carrying the game, like actually carrying it. And I don't understand why her win rate is so high. I just don't get it. If somebody would like to explain to me why that is, then go ahead. I think that if you are an active Mcginnis player instead of one who likes to set up your little Alamo on side of side lane and eat up all of your carries farm, you probably have a lot more success. But that's what I see most of the time. And it's not very good. And I mentioned that in my last tier list, and she is still staying here. In my opinion, the worst character in the game. Worse than Graves, as I know a lot of people will say Graves is worse. I think Mcginnis is worse. Just straight up. Okay. Mina players, you're not fooling me, okay? I got into a long argument with somebody on Twitter about how strong Mina is. I had somebody tell me that they think Mina is not a top 10 character in the game. At the top ends of the game. What the freaking crap are we smoking to think this character is not a top 10 character? She is S tier. She is one of the best characters in this game. Hands down, I don't care what anybody says, she is the best spirit character in the game. Better than Apollo, better than Celeste, better than some other character, another character we'll get to later. She is in basically every single one of my games. Her ultimate is insane. She is almost always one of the most impactful players in the game. I would say that in 9 of 10 games that she's in, she is one of the most impactful players in the game. Her laning is oppressive. Her mid game is strong. Her late game is strong. What does this character not have? What am I not seeing? Is it just like the low elo chuds that are trying to convince me this character is bad? I'm not buying it. I've played against her enough in my high Oracle games, and I assume probably some Phantom players mixed in there as well, like low Phantom. I've played against enough players to know this character is fucking insane. I don't care what anybody says. In mid elo, she is one of the best characters in the game, hands down. As you get closer to the emissary part of my mid elo sort of range that I've given, she might be worse because as much as I don't like to give you Mina players credit, I think Mina is a slightly difficult character to play, or a decently difficult character to play. And because of that, at the lower tiers of the game, I don't think she's as good. But I think this character is absolutely insanely busted at the upper end of this range. I just don't know. You can try and convince me that she's bad all you want to. I just won't believe you based on my own experience and based on other people's experiences, what I've listened to. I mean, somebody tried to, like I said, argue with me that this character is not a top 5 character, but like Deathy had her in the top 5. I know his opinions are kind of controversial, but I do like Vegas and his opinions. His opinion is that Mina is also broken. I think she's the best, like, burst spirit hero in the entire game, and it's not even close. Like, I think the difference between her and Apollo is that Apollo has slightly more lethality early. I think his laning is a little bit stronger. But in every other part of the game, Mina is just better. Because Apollo does fall off later in the game. Now, like I said, you're in mid elo, you can snowball with Apollo and stay ahead the entire time. But Mina doesn't even have to worry about that. You don't even have to be ahead to have impact later in the game, whereas I think Apollo does. So yeah, Mina ran over. I hate her. Nerf her, please. God forbid. I don't care that the ultimate was nerfed a little bit. Needs more. Please, 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 dear God, nerf the character. Mirage. Does Mirage stay in S tier for me? I said in my last tier list that I thought Mirage had the argument to be the best character in the game. I don't really think that's true anymore. I'm gonna keep Mirage in S tier because I'm not 100% sure if I've seen enough of a downward trend in this character in my game, to move him down to A tier. Now, I just haven't seen him a lot. That's kind of the big thing. But whenever you do play against a player who knows how to play Mirage, wow, the lobby is unfun. So I think that we're going to leave him here and just say that I've been kind of unlucky with like getting against him and with him in my games, and that he's still really strong. Mo and Krill. I think Mo and Krill is the definition of like an A tier character. I think that he's got his situations where he's really good. He's got some weaknesses, doesn't need buffs, maybe needs slight nerfs, but I don't really think that I would nerf much. The gun scaling increase was nice, but like after building the gun 4.8k, the character's gun kind of feels like dookie. I don't know why you'd keep building it. So we're just going to leave him there. I think that a pick hero like Mo and Krill is always going to be good because you can lock down any one of these characters above. Like comboing a Geist is incredible value. Comboing a Kelvin is incredible value. Comboing a Dynamo is incredible value. I mean, he's just always going to have incredible value for as long as combo is the way it is. So we'll move on swiftly from him. Paige got some buffs. Is Paige a B tier character? Yes, I think so. I think she's above Billy. Is she A tier though? That's the question. I have to think about this. Has Paige annoyed me enough to be A tier? I don't think so. I don't think she's annoyed me enough to be A tier. I think she's kind of like Celeste, where maybe at the higher ranks of the game, you get a lot more value on Paige. But I think that Dynamo and Kelvin are better support characters by a lot. And they've both annoyed me significantly more in a game than Paige has. So, yeah. If you're a good Paige, though, you can make a lobby really miserable by saving people with your plot armor ability. I forgot what it was called, my bad. Paradox. I had Paradox in C tier last time. Is Paradox going to stay in C tier? Yep. Look, Paradox is a good character in this game, I think. I think she's probably balanced, but in Mid Elo, the kind of skill set you need to be good at her, I just don't think works as well, because if you are good at Paradox, you're going to be higher Elo most of the time. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but just the way that she's played, her entire kit is pretty mechanically intensive outside of the time wall. People don't use the time wall for the damage boost that it gives, which I imagine they would at the higher elos. People are going to miss the ult a lot of times. People are going to miss the charge shot a lot of times in mid elo. And I think that the bomb build is kind of fake. So I think we're going to leave Paradox in C. You can, if you're a good Paradox, you can obviously carry games. Like I said, mid elo means that all these characters are viable. You can win all of them, but it's just kind of a list of how hard you have to work. Pocket, where do I put them? This is a tough one. This is a tough one. I think Pocket stays in A tier. They were in A tier last time. I don't think anything has changed significantly except for a slight nerf to their gun. I still think Pocket's pretty good. I think that Glocket is still a decent option for you to play. So Pocket is going to stay in A tier for me. I don't really think I need any more reasons for that. AoE anti-heal ultimate is really good pretty much all the time. Rem is going to be in B tier. Now, I know if this is the top, Rem would be down here in C tier or Slurk tier, but Rem is a B tier character. I've seen Rem less now that I've been in higher parts of mid elo because people are better about map control, but I imagine if you're in like Emissary, this character might even be up here. So I might even move Rem up to like the top of B tier just to like make up for that. I can only say what my experience is, and I've been playing basically this entire patch in Oracle. So this is my representation of where these characters fall in Oracle, but you can kind of move them up or down depending on how easy or hard you think they are, depending on what elo you're in. As I mentioned earlier with like Mina, I think Bebop might even be an S tier if you're down in Emissary just because of what he's capable of doing. Doorman, same sort of vibe. Lady Geist is probably lower if you're in lower elo because people are going to be building Bomb Geist and I just don't think it's as good. But yeah. We're going to put Rem here, so that way that makes up for that difference. He's definitely viable. He's not near as weak as he is at the higher tiers of the game. The sleep, like the ultimate, is very good. The center eating still happens. You can get away with it. Rem players are pretty on top of it at this elo too. So, yeah. 7 is going in S tier. I don't know what to do with this character, man, because everything in my head screams that this character is A tier. Like, looking at the way they function, the way their kit works, how long it takes them to scale. The win rate is just insane. Like, it's just insane. All the time. I don't know. And I think that because people aren't as good at punishing 7 in these mid-elo ranks, that 7 is going to be up here. And I think if you're lower elo, 7 is even higher on this list, like maybe even up in this area. I'm going to put him below Kelvin and above Mirage, even though I don't know if I believe that, just to kind of compensate for that. But if you're playing 7, you can climb super, super easily in these ranks. You can scale pretty hard. People aren't going to punish you, all that jazz. 7, good. Shiv is still freaking insane, man. Like, Shiv is still potentially a top 3 character in this game for me. Indomitable helps Shiv. I don't care about whatever minor nerfs he received. I just don't care. Shiv is still insane. The life still changes, don't hurt him enough. He is always going to be perma S tier as long as he exists in this state, and his knives still do that much damage. Even when most people are buying Dispel Magic as you get to the higher end of this mid-elo. The lower ranks, you're not going to be doing that. I also don't care that they nerfed his movement either. Still insane with the way that his kit functions. Silver. Silver was down in the bottom of S tier last time. Silver is going to be a top 3 character in the game for me this time. I think even above Shiv. Now, this is an interesting conversation to have, right? Because Silver, I think, is a character that, when she released, was absolutely insanely broken, overtuned, stupid, and anybody could play her basically by drooling on your keyboard and you would just walk a lobby. Well, they nerfed her, and then people stopped playing her for a few weeks, at least not as commonly in the ranks I was in at the time, which is like Emissary and Archon. But they buffed her again for whatever reason. I don't really understand why. And now, you know, we're a month and a half removed from those buffs, and the character is just Thanos in the lobby again. Insane laning, insane mid-game, insane late game. The transformation is insane. She has insane damage as well, even on her non-transformed form. And I think there's a good conversation to be had maybe in a different video about, like, what you do with Silver. Do you take power away from the non-transformed form and make her, like, Giga Thanos in the ult? Or do you take some power away from the ult and keep the, in my opinion, more skill-expressive non-werewolf form part of the character stronger? I don't know. But as of right now, she's up here, and I think she's probably... She has an argument to be the best character in the game, I think. Sinclair. All right, this is my biggest shift. I was sleeping, okay? Sinclair is insane. I had no idea. I didn't see the vision. I had Sinclair down here as potentially the worst character in the game. Sinclair is an A tier character. Why is that, you might be asking? Well, if you're in lower elos, you might not see a lot of Sinclair, but now that I'm in the higher part of this mid-elo, I see him a ton. So what makes Sinclair broken exactly? Does the opposing team have any of these characters on their team? Is the answer yes? Sinclair is a very strong pick. Does the enemy team have multiple of these characters on their team? Is the answer yes? Sinclair is a really, really strong pick. Does the enemy team have multiple of these characters and multiple of, let's say, the top row of these characters on their team? Is the answer yes? Then Sinclair is even more insane. As long as the enemy team has S tier characters or characters with strong ultimates like Lash, Doorman even, Lady Geist, even Drifter at times, Mo and Krill, as long as the enemy team has characters with strong ultimates, which a lot of these characters would in the top of S tier, this character is insane because you can copy it and you can use multiple of them depending on the situation and the time. And nothing is better than watching a Sinclair turn into werewolf and kill a Silver. Like, I respect the heck out of you guys, man. You've got some bunny shenanigans too you can do. I mean, it's a giant AoE for all kinds of crazy shenanigans like mid-boss steals. Spectral Assistant does an insane amount of damage and is also a great bit of utility for you to, like, teleport to and from places. Sinclair's got stuff. I think Bolt is probably the weakest part of Sinclair's kit, but the other parts are so good that you make up for it. And I was just completely wrong. I will hold my hands up and say I was wrong about this character. Venator is still an S tier for me. Venator, I mean, I understand that some gun characters are a little bit weaker, but Venator is just so strong. You have so much of your scaling built into your kit, and Venator is also not, like, super difficult, not like the easiest, I would say. I would say 7's easier. Probably Apollo is easier, maybe. I don't know. I think Venator is just a little bit easier than some of these other characters at the top. And you still get an insane amount of value. You do a ton of damage. You've got a good CC, good ultimate. You've got multiple good CCs, actually, even though they nerf traps, which I thought was interesting, considering that wasn't the part of the kit that I thought was most annoying about the character. But I digress. Venator is a menace, and if you play Venator, you will be able to climb pretty easily, and you'll have a good time, a lot of impact in these games. So yeah, enjoy Venator mains while he's still here. Actually, don't mind him too much. Victor. Gun Victor is here, baby. Everything in my head screams this character should be weak, and then you play against him and you're just like, what in the hell is this guy doing to my walkers? Why does his gun hurt me so much? What is going on? Win rate is insanely high on this character right now, and I assume that's across all ranks, including Infernus Plus and E4 Plus. But I assume in Mid Elo it's even higher what his win rate is right now. The aura, just standing under the walker, I know that's something you could do before, but I believe that like Deathy has done like a stand under walker and just kill it build that a lot of the victors are using now. And wowie zowie does this character do a lot of damage and scare me a lot when I play against him. It feels like it takes like 3 people to take him down when you're on slightly behind him in terms of farm. Insane. Good ultimate, crazy gun. The nerfs to things like Pain Battery and Jumpstart have made him a little bit, a little bit weaker in that regard, but the gun buffs, man, it just does so much damage. Okay, we'll leave Victor there. I believe Victor, though, I will mention before I move on, I believe that Victor did have a slight nerf to the way that his gun scaling worked. I don't know if it was like fire rate or just actual damage. Still feels really good, but he's at the bottom of A tier. I think there are games where you're going to play Victor and it's not going to work very well, but in a lot of games, you're going to get a lot of value, and especially if your team is supporting you. Vindicta is an A-tier character now. I think Vindicta is in a perfect spot. Like, I think she's balanced. I think she's got her bullshit in the right matchups, but she's also got matchups that are really hard for her. I don't think that she's honest by any means, because, I mean, flying in the sky is never going to be seen as honest when half the cast can't interact with you. But I've been having a lot of fun playing her. I think that the item changes really benefited her. Opening rounds and trophy collector buffs benefit her a lot because she's a roaming character. Opening rounds was sort of a weird item to fit into your builds before, and you can get it a little bit earlier now. I think she's good, man, like really good. This is probably the best Vindicta has felt in a long time for me, even at the start of last patch when people were saying she was a lot better, when they originally changed the way her crow worked. I think she's really, really good, and I have a lot of success with her. Also, check out my build. I'll post that at the top of the comments. Viscous. What do I do with Viscous? I think Viscous is a pretty weak support character. Even in Mid Elo, man, I just don't see Viscous like scaring me a lot. In lane, Viscous is annoying, yes. The cube is annoying in the right matchups, yes. But I think that Viscous kind of has the issue where you can be really annoying in the early game, but whenever your goo splatter nuke starts falling off, you don't really do a whole lot other than just become a cube and stun machine with your ball. I don't know, man. We're gonna put Viscous in C tier. I think that if you're at the bottom of Emissary, maybe Viscous is B or higher, but I don't know. I have not played against a lot of Viscouses that I'm like, wow, they really annoy me. This is horrible. Vyper. Vyper is staying in A tier at the top of A tier. I think Vyper is very good. The nerfs were noticeable, but I don't think they were enough to like take her off of the map. And in Mid Elo especially, I think you can still play her just fine and you probably won't notice much of a difference. All in all, Vyper, strong pick. Still obnoxious in the right situations and good in the right hands, but just not good in everybody's hands like I think she was in the last patch. Warden. Warden has kind of snuck up on me a bit. I thought Warden was an A tier before, but I think Warden is also still A tier, but better. I don't really know how to explain that. And this is literally the exact spot I had Warden in last time. I thought Warden was a little slept on, but I think Warden with the right build is really scary in this patch, man. Really, really scary. And in the right hands, oh boy, does this character make your day horrible. Wraith is also an A tier. You'll notice there's a lot of A tier characters. This is Mid Elo. I think pretty much there's a lot of characters that are more viable than they would be at the top. A character like Wraith, I think is a bit weaker at the top of the game, but you're just not going to get countered as much. Good gun carry sort of vibe. Good ultimate. Good escape tool. Decent skill expression with cards. The 3 is also good. I don't think she's like broken. She hasn't annoyed me as much as she did when she was originally buffed several months ago. So I think that we leave her right there. Yamato. Man, I don't know. Yamato is really good at the top end of the game, but I think Yamato's like a B tier character here, man. Yamato only scares me when I'm playing certain characters. Vindicta, if I were playing Grey Talon, playing squishy characters like Haze. That's the only time she scares me. Otherwise, I just don't really notice her. She falls off pretty hard in the late game, I think. Power Slash is always a scary thing, but like, for example, I think Apollo has 2/3 of what Power Slash is, but he gets 3 of them. So that's why I think Apollo is so much better. I think as this sort of like max spirit characters, she's one of the worst in the game. Now, viable, yes. If you're a good Yamato player, you're going to have a lot of fun. The 2 is always going to be broken. The ultimate is always going to be really strong, but I just haven't seen her annoy me as much in my games recently. Okay, so now that I've gotten this updated tier list, like I said, don't expect another one of these for a long time. I'm not going to become the tier list guy who's making one like every week, at least for Deadlock like character strength tier lists. Maybe some other tier lists would be interesting to do in the future. I hope you enjoyed. Please consider liking and subscribing if you did, and tell me why I'm wrong or what you agree with in the comments down below. And yeah, I think that'll wrap it up. Have a good one. Peace.